Does Starfield need multiplayer? Many people saying that the game needs multiplayer, articles, YouTube videos, even the community continuing to sort of look at what Starfield has to offer and essentially saying that this would be the perfect game for multiplayer. So I want to actually argue why this is the perfect game for multiplayer, even though ultimately I do not think it needs it. I know people are going to say it doesn't need it, leave it alone, it's just a single player game, let a single player game be a single player game. I actually think there's really good reasons to put multiplayer into Starfield, especially considering Microsoft and Xbox and Game Pass. Now, I put all the good information right here at the beginning of the video so you don't have to go looking for it. Make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss out on this content. Many are looking to Starfield to be one of the biggest releases of 2023, and some in the gaming community are already saying that this would be the perfect game for multiplayer, expand the experience beyond simply single player. And to a certain extent, I actually agree with them. I'm not arguing that it needs it, but it certainly could make the game significantly better. GameRant recently published an article entitled, "Despite being a single player game, Starfield has room for multiplayer features," and it got me thinking about why Starfield would actually be the perfect game for multiplayer. And it's not just based on the fact that, like, oh, I want to play with somebody else, or oh, you know, I really don't like single player games. I actually loved Skyrim and I loved Fallout 4, and I'm going to kind of use those games a little bit in my argument. I want to break this into three sections. Number one, look back to Skyrim. Number two, look at Fallout 76. And number three, look to the future. So sort of a look back, look down, and look forward. And from the top, I do think it needs to be stated that Bethesda has a great past, and they could certainly have a brighter future. A lot of times in my Starfield coverage, I have found myself sort of defending games like Skyrim and Fallout 4 against people saying they were buggy messes, and the community basically had to save those games. I think people largely overstate their case when they say things like that, and I think that Starfield stands to be one of the biggest releases of 2023, and I've been looking forward to it for quite some time. And one of the reasons is because of Skyrim, which is the first sort of section here. Look back to Skyrim. It's undeniable that Skyrim is considered the quintessential RPG, if not one of the most quintessential RPGs within gaming's history. Even beyond what it did for open world RPGs, it also evolved beyond itself. Many people would look at the long-standing success and the popularity and the enjoyment of Elder Scrolls Online. ESO originally launched in 2014. It's coming up on its 10-year anniversary next year. That's quite an accomplishment for an ongoing live service game, and I think a lot of it is because it's built on that Skyrim feel. I remember this being sort of, in my mind, the answer to Skyrim. I couldn't play with my friends, and that was sort of the biggest conundrum that I remember facing with Skyrim, thinking this would be the perfect game to play with the boys. This would be the perfect game to run around with. I remember feeling a sense of deep disappointment when I had to describe the dragon showing up to my friend in Xbox Party Chat. We couldn't experience it together. We couldn't fight it together, and I just felt like that was a huge loss to the game's quality. Not being able to play together felt like such an easy and gigantic miss. Given the ZeniMax ownership by Microsoft, this may connect some dots here. I could see Microsoft wanting to create some ongoing cartilage for Starfield, and multiplayer would be a really, really great foundation for that. They could be saying, listen, look what you guys have done with Elder Scrolls Online. We would like to foster a similar thing here for Starfield, especially since it's a Game Pass game. So looking back to Skyrim and just seeing how much more Starfield could be by building what was fundamentally missing from Skyrim, I think could be a huge benefit. The second thing I want to say is look at Fallout 76. Fallout 76 should be, I don't think, purely remembered as an embarrassing failure or a blemish on Bethesda's history. The game has seemingly come very far, and the community feels that Bethesda has dramatically improved the game. It would be a shame to take all that experience and all that knowledge and do nothing with it. Taking what they learned from their second big endeavor into an online multiplayer game and bringing that knowledge and experience to Starfield. This would be the opportunity to redeem what Fallout 76 could have been. And to be quite honest, Fallout 76 is still going, surprisingly. It still manages to get close to 10,000 player peaks a day on Steam. Whenever you go to the Steam charts and it shows within the last 24 hours, they get close to 10,000 players, and that's just Steam. And that's 5 years after a very poor release and bad reception. This communicates, I think, volumes about what some players think about Bethesda property, and they're willing to continue to give it a chance, and people like playing games online together. How can you not see the potential of Starfield with the base building and the ship customization and the space exploration, and obviously the combat as well, since Bethesda games love to put you on missions and send you out into the world with a companion? I could see this being a great opportunity to say, hey, bring a buddy with you, play co-op, bring somebody along to check out the base that you've built or what you've done to your ship. I think the ship customization is one of the things I'm looking forward to the most in Starfield. But I also think we should look at the future, because everything has changed for Bethesda. They're now owned by Xbox. They're now owned by Microsoft. And the trend of live service games, I think, growing in popularity cannot be ignored. I would certainly think that Microsoft is looking at Sony's live service plans and considering plans of their own. If I'm Microsoft, I'm going to be thinking of ways to get more value out of games landing on Game Pass, something that endures beyond the day and date try the game crowd. Yes, I think I try games, play them day and date. I think that crowd is great, but I think you want to start offering value beyond that. A great way to make Game Pass feel more sticky and harder to drop is a game that keeps people engaged beyond its launch month. If you're having a really, really good time with Starfield and you're playing with your buddy and he wants to keep playing, you're not going to churn and burn, which is what a lot of people do with Game Pass. I'm still not sure if live service games are a good fit for Game Pass, because I wonder if gamers are going to be hesitant to spend money in a game that they know that they don't own. But they may be less apprehensive with the first-party title because it's likely to never leave Game Pass because it's a Microsoft title. Starfield could be the perfect fit for an ongoing game to play with your friends. Show off what you've built, go on quests together, establish bases, farm materials, fight enemies. If I'm Bethesda, I would be thinking of ways to maintain my value to Microsoft and to Game Pass, because that's what you are now. You're a developer not just for Microsoft, not just for Xbox. You're a developer for Game Pass, and that could be good, but it could also be bad. It could be good because this forces the game to be great if it wants to maintain user engagement and people are going to be trying it on Game Pass. It can't be a bad game. That could be a good service to the people who subscribe to Game Pass. That could be good motivation for developers to not make crappy games. The engagement, if that communicates the value and hopefully some measurement of ROI to Xbox for the product cost and the production involved in making the game, especially a game the size of Starfield, you would hope that engagement somehow justifies that game's existence. This could also be bad, though. If Bethesda is basically now just a Game Pass developer, this could turn the dev into a studio of studios, and Bethesda could be put on small project farms. They want to get games out the door. Maybe they turn Bethesda into a AA studio who's just sort of working on 4 or 5 different things. I don't think they're doing that, because it seems like their plans for Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 are well in place, but a lot of those statements were made in the early stages of the acquisition or even before the acquisition. Microsoft may consider projects like the size and the scope of Starfield just too costly, and a great way for Bethesda to say Starfield was worth it is to add multiplayer to keep the game going, because the modding community will certainly do that, but that's not necessarily going to be felt on Game Pass. After it's all said and done, I want Bethesda to make their next Skyrim by combining everything that they've learned. Even the rough spots on their history give them great insight into how to make a game like Starfield soar for years to come. So let me give you my thoughts and my conclusions. So Bethesda, I think, number one, has a history of games that they could pull from to make Starfield a giant leap forward for the company. But it could also be a giant leap forward for the genre. I would love for Starfield to be the next Skyrim and for it to create a tectonic movement within the gaming world. I honestly think that multiplayer would be a huge aspect of that. Number two, the pairing of Starfield to Game Pass just makes more sense in my mind if the game has an ongoing or multiplayer feel. This is a common comparison between Xbox and PlayStation. Many claim that PlayStation only excels at one type of single-player game and that Xbox is the better multiplayer platform. Well, after the embarrassment of Halo Infinite, I could see Microsoft pushing for Starfield to carry two banners. Be a flagship, be an iconic title for our platform, but also be a multiplayer hub for Game Pass. So here's my conclusion. Does Starfield need multiplayer? Certainly not. I think this game could be massively successful as space Skyrim Fallout. Many people referring to it as one of those combinations. It could be so much more, though, with multiplayer. And it would certainly be something that myself and many other Bethesda fans have wanted for a long time from a game of this size, as evidenced in both Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76. At this point, I'm not going to hold out hope and think that Starfield will ever get multiplayer, right? But given the game's potential, one could certainly dream that both Xbox and Bethesda see just how far this game could reach. And that's the show open. I am really sorry about the late start today. My phone would literally not work. And we're streaming in multiple places today. I hope that it's actually using the right the right microphone for the stream over there on the Tickety Talk. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's using the right microphone. Okay. And I hope it's coming through loud and clear. We're streaming on both Kick and we're streaming on TikTok. And it looks like we're doing okay. It looks like Kick is dropping frames. I don't really care. That platform's having ingest server problems almost every other day. So if you guys are over here on YouTube, make sure you're smashing the subscribe button, the like button. I would love to hear your input on here. I would love to hear your input on this. Let's kickstart the day with some members. Let's get the member goal on the screen. Don't forget about the huge sale that we're doing on the coffee. The Frickmas blend, our holiday blend, has been marked down to $12.95, and members can get a buy two, get one free. That is available over there. Good to see you, Vapor, over here. It looks like streaming this way is maybe not the call, though. We're getting a fraction of what we typically get over here on the Tickety Talk. So, and I don't want this to be a huge distraction. So I'm just going to pop out the chats and then give myself the ability to see what everybody's saying. And yeah, usually when we cover Starfield over on the Tickety Talk, I have like 50 to 60 people hanging out. I have 4 people watching, so they might not give priority to streams that are like horizontal over there. Multiplayer for Starfield will be later, says Mo, if they decide to do it. Yeah, I would think this could be something they would add later, Mo. Like, I'm not saying that it needs to be added, but I definitely think it could be a huge value add to the game. A huge update. You know what I'm saying? Solemn says, I doubt there'll be official multiplayer. Oh, I'm muted in Discord. Sorry, Discord. Doubt there'll be official multiplayer, but the players on PC will make it happen for themselves. Watching people get trolled has been funny. Trolled about what, Eugene? If multiplayer Starfield to be later, if they decide to do it. If you're gonna stream on it, you probably need the best on the market phone. Holy smokes, double the Lono on Tube and Tickety. Yeah, you can watch in both places now, and you can get, like, the full picture here. Rigby says it's not needed. Horizontal streams don't do well. I mean, I can always set it up over there and just do it vertical. I've seen plenty of people doing horizontal with gameplay with thousands of viewers, so I don't necessarily know if that's true. Most people want to play Starfield for a single-player game, but they just need to make an online version of Starfield like ESO and 76. Oh, Michael does life? How's he trolling people? What's Michael doing these days? I begged for years for games like Fallout 4 to include even a basic way to invite a friend to visit your wasteland, something akin to No Man's Sky where you can go to the same planet with buddies, says Derek. Yeah, here's the thing that always strikes me as interesting in these discussions about multiplayer in Starfield. If you don't think it needs it, then just don't use it. Right? You know what I'm saying? Was that the ding? Are we getting the doorbell song? Seriously? Did I just hear a doorbell? Anyone else hear that? Why did you guys hear a doorbell? I'm going to mute the TikTok studio. I wonder if that's what it was. I'm going to mute that. It wasn't the music. I think it was the studio. I think. Anyway, that wasn't him. It was some clown pretending to be him. Calling you a clown. Oh, it was a doorbell. Yeah, I wonder if it was the guy following me. I think it was the guy following me on the Tickety Talk. I wonder if when that happens, somebody... Here, I'm gonna put my headphones on and see if it happens again. It was probably somebody following me over there on the Tickety Talk, because I'm using their studio app. More than likely, that's what it was. But if you're going to add multiplayer, then nobody has to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I never understand in these discussions. Michael Does Life says this dude is a clown. I don't think that that's him. I can't click on him. I can't go to his channel. You guys have he's already been, no one cares about this day one slop. Are you sure that wasn't him? I don't know. That might have been him. Did you check his official channel, Creature? If that was him that he stopped by. What's good, Cowboy? Yeah, Creature's saying that it's not him. Michael Does Life has stopped by here a handful of times, and he's never been mean to me. He just likes to trash games. He's never been unkind to me as a YouTuber and called me a clown or something. So what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Good to see you. Thank you guys for anywhere that you're watching the stream. I have all the chats pulled up, so you should be able to get faster reactions from me. David says, I just followed on the Tickety Talk, and then I heard the ding-dong on YouTube. It was you, David. You're the one that caused it. If you're just tuning in, we are discussing whether or not Starfield needs multiplayer. I basically argued in the show open and said, listen, I don't think it needs it, but I think it could benefit greatly from having multiplayer added. And oftentimes, when you get into these discussions with people, that's one of the things that they're going to say is, it doesn't need it, just leave it alone, let it be, a good single-player game. And I get that. I get that at one level. I really, really do. But at another level, I don't see why you would be against having something there for people that want it, right? Because plenty of us would like to do that. I would like to bring somebody onto my ship. I would like to show you my base. I think those are things that people would enjoy doing. I think that those are things that you would see people enjoying together. And then you could completely ignore it and say, I have no desire to do that. LOL, it doesn't though? Okay. I don't want to talk to you because you're not having a discussion. You can just keep saying it doesn't need multiplayer. I'd rather have a discussion with people who think that it could be an added feature. I'm not saying that it needs it, but it could certainly help the game last longer. Again, this is a Game Pass game. I made that argument at the end of the opening monologue. I said, listen, Bethesda is no longer just making video games, and they're certainly not just making video games for Xbox. They're making video games for Game Pass, right? And if you're making video games for Game Pass, you got to consider that long term. You've got to consider that long term because you want your games to be more, I think, again, if I'm Microsoft, then I want games to land on Game Pass and have value beyond that first month because they have to be looking at the churn and burn of Game Pass and asking that question. And Starfield would be, I think, a great title to do that. It would bridge the gap, right? It would say, okay, you're not just playing this game for the first month. You're playing it for months to come with other people. I think God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, and Horizon would be great live service multiplayer games. Great games for PS Plus. Well, they're working on a Horizon multiplayer game, and Ghost of Tsushima has Legends, and you can play that with other people. There's PvP, there's co-op missions. They're already doing what you're talking about to a certain degree. I don't necessarily think God of War is a good fit, but I had people doing that. They're replying to my tweets and they're like, well, Spider-Man 2 should have multiplayer. I actually think Spider-Man 2 might have co-op, and I think the very first trailer hints at that. God of War should have multiplayer. There's a giant difference between a game like God of War and Starfield, is there not? Don't you look at Starfield and see all the potential for a game to play with other people? Don't you see a game that could potentially be enjoyed for months to come with other folks? Whether you're building a base, flying and doing missions together. Iron Hand with a $10 super chat tip. I don't think it needs it. No Man's Sky already has 90% of what Starfield would offer. I don't agree with that at all. I'm afraid Bethesda would have to balance around multiplayer if they put it in boss difficulty, reward rarities, God forbid there's PvP. Yeah, I don't think that there would need to be PvP, and I completely disagree with you that No Man's Sky has approximately 90% of what Starfield would offer. Number one, No Man's Sky's combat leaves a lot to be desired for. As far as I can tell, the combat in Starfield looks promising. I do think the guns and the gunplay need work, but in the recent footage that was sort of over Todd Howard's shoulder in the studio, I actually thought that the gunplay already looked better than the first time that we saw it, right? Vapor says, my opinion is that multiplayer co-op should be a standard. And Vito says, it won't make the game worse, but it would be a great feature for people to want to use it. Those are replies from the Tickety Talk and Kick. And over here on YouTube, 809 Lion says, Starfield does have multiplayer potential, but it worries me that multiplayer focus will lessen the single player in experience. Well, and here's where I would argue that that's why it should be added later. If you're going to have multiplayer inside of Starfield, just have it be something later. You can call it the companion update or something. Because plenty of times in Fallout, you have a companion that comes with you, and it's nice. Well, I mean, what if a month in they say, hey, we pushed out the companion update. You can bring a friend along when you do missions, when you go and explore a planet. You can show your friend the base that you've built. And then you're able to, I think, I think, show people that, hey, this game has multiplayer chops. This game can be more than just, a single player experience. That I'm not saying it needs it. I'm saying certainly could be a very, very nice add later on. Because I don't think you want to pull away from the single player focus, because I think that's one of the things that made Skyrim and Fallout 4 so good, because they had really, really good long tail content for you to enjoy. I can agree with that. If it's 12 months later, but not sooner, why would you wait that long? You think people are going to care a year later? I would think you'd want to add it within the first couple of months. I would prefer story expansions for longevity in the form of DLC. Yeah, and see, I guess I could see why somebody would push against what I'm saying. They would say, listen, this is a single-player game. I want an ongoing story. I want expansions. I want new things to do, new weapons or whatever. I guess my concern would be, with the skill trees, how on earth will they do that? You're capped at that point. What are they going to honestly add that would be enjoyable? You've already, within the RPG realm, you're at the top of the pyramid, and you're just going to go play new missions at that max out level. Immortal Turtle in the Discord says, Or Cool Spoon says, along with my comment above, it seems some people hate multiplayer with a vitriol. I get the worry that it might take resources away from the rest of the game, but I think even if it didn't affect the rest of the game, some people would still be against it. I honestly find it hard to get into single-player games. The amount of variety multiplayer adds, it gives so much more longevity to a game. And then a Myrtle Turtle in the members-only Discord says, if they did decide to go to the multiplayer route and be specific, a live service route, then they would need to get some kind of a grind to experience them in motion. With that being said, how would they go about it since the game being promoted as a single-player game? I think you could do it as an update later, right? Just join with friends and farm resources, build bases. What about all the story choices? Right, you would definitely have a host and a non-host. The story choices in the narrative would certainly pose a problem. It would certainly pose a problem. Because if I'm going up to a guy and I'm insulting his family, and in your game, he's your best friend, that doesn't work, right? It would have to be some kind of, as I said, like a companion update where I'm just kind of riding along in your game so you can show me the stuff that you've got, and maybe we can get into some combat together. Solemn says that would be dope. They would probably have to add content with that update for the players who already have completed the game and dug in deep already. Derek wanted me to see a copy-paste. ER had a big optional multiplayer aspect where you could temporarily teleport in to someone else's world. I'm not sure what ER is. I do hate multiplayer with vitriol, says Chapter 8, and I will never play it, but I'm fine with it being added if it doesn't take anything away from the single player, and it's 100% optional, including no story. I can't get into single player. One of the coolest stories in gaming in 2022 was because ER let you do temporary team-up cooperative gameplay. Come on. Are you talking about Elden Ring? Is that what you're talking about with ER? Elden Ring was like it wasn't like seamless co-op, though. Elden Ring Seamless Co-op download mod on the PC is the most downloaded mod. Guys, this member thing over here is looking awfully sad. We bounced back yesterday to like the 2,400 members. We honored Eknor. Make sure you guys are submitting those. Elden Ring, I mean, we're trying to have a discussion. The constant fake comment thing, I don't know what, it's not enjoyable to have to constantly read that. It flat tires what's happening because it leads to me being confused. Like, come on. Starfield, like its predecessor Fallout 4 and Skyrim, will probably be played for years, if not tens of years. Multiplayer could help, but Bethesda games have very long tails, says Wheezy. In my mind, Wheezy, I'm thinking about Starfield's sort of placement as a Game Pass game, right? I'm thinking more about that. You're not wrong that Skyrim and Fallout 4, and I mean, even if you look at Fallout 76, these games tend to like just keep people in them for a really, really long time. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. But I'm not just purely thinking of it as a Bethesda title anymore. I'm thinking of this as more than a Bethesda title. This is a Game Pass game. This is a Microsoft-owned property that's landing on Game Pass day and date. That, I think, is an important aspect of what I'm talking about. Dave Mack says, will Starfield be co-op? Dave, no, not out of the box. Many of us are kind of arguing for that. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's having a great day. Remember to like the stream. Thank you, Adam, for reminding everybody. It's not just a Game Pass game, though. Okay, I didn't say it was just a Game Pass game. Listen very carefully to how I phrase things because you keep arguing with somebody who's not here, all right? I'm going to just start banning people for that. It's super frustrating, and it flat tires the chat. I don't ban people for disagreeing. I ban people for being subversive to good conversation. It's annoying, right? Rise to the occasion or just sit this one out if you can't come up to the bar of just basic conversational skills. I said it's more than just a Bethesda title. It's more than just a long-tail RPG. It's a Game Pass game. It's an Xbox game now. You can't look at being acquired by Microsoft and act as if, well, now that they're owned by Microsoft and they're a banner and they're sort of a front runner for Game Pass, you can't ignore that as a major aspect of how they're going to view their game and how Microsoft's going to view their game. It's bigger. It's bigger than just another Bethesda title. Todd Howard himself says in an interview that they feel pressure to sell Xboxes with their game. This is no longer just a Bethesda title. This is not just their latest attempt to make another Fallout or Skyrim. This is a Game Pass game. This is an Xbox first-party, day-and-date Game Pass title. And I think that has to be considered in the grand scheme of things. Why change it then if it's a banner? I'm not sure what you mean. Smashville says, I don't mind multiplayer as long as I don't have to play it. My question would be, how would it run on the Series S? Well, I mean, that's a whole other discussion. I don't want to get off into that today, Smashville. That'll distract from the main focus of today's stream, and I'll just get called a Starfield hater and an Xbox hater. Wheezy says, as long as they don't lose mod support, because that's a lot of continued usage. 4.2 billion mod downloads for Skyrim combined. 1.2 billion mods downloaded. As long as the multiplayer has zero impact on modding, sure. But if you have to lose modding, it's an absolute no-go. Why would multiplayer affect the modding? Would it just make it harder for the modders to do anything because the base game gets updated? Wouldn't that be... like, let's just say, I think it was 809 Lion that said, oh, I want expansions. I want more story, right? Oh, yeah, I want more story. I want more expansions. Wouldn't that be significant changes to the base game? And I'm assuming would come with pretty big updates. How does that not retroactively affect the mods? Like, if Starfield puts out a pretty big patch and an update 2 months into the game's life cycle, doesn't that affect the modding community? Doesn't it do that? I would think that it does. I'm not familiar with modding Bethesda games. I 100% hard agree with you, says Liquid Think. My brother and I keep in touch these days with gaming, and it bums us out we won't be able to play this game with each other. Biggest omission from No Man's Sky at launch, too. Agreed. And they quickly try to get that in the game. Sven on Kick says, you did a great job in your show open, but we did leave out ESO on purpose as a solution to multiplayer concerns for Skyrim. I didn't leave it out. I mentioned it like 4 times. I know it's not the same dev, but I feel it largely a successful formula. I referenced it like 4 different times, Sven. Under the entire heading of Skyrim, I said, look at ESO. ESO is basically the answer to what Skyrim was missing. And then I talked about how my most disappointing memory of Skyrim was having to describe the dragon to my friend. We're in a Xbox party just talking as we're playing. That's one of my most disappointing memories of Skyrim. Is I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a dragon. He's like, what? There's a dragon? I'm like, yeah, he just flew over. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, he landed on this thing. Like, I'm giving him a play-by-play. You must have missed your ESO point. It was earlier in the talk, so let me just tell people, let me give you guys a recap. We're 32 minutes in. Let's get things going here. Let's get our first coffee orders, take advantage of the sale, take advantage of the buy 2, get 1 free. If you are a member, be sure to do that in the Discord. Do also consider getting, wrong side. The member goal started for the day. It's sitting sad over there. So here, let me give you my recap. This is essentially what I said. Starfield doesn't need multiplayer, but it certainly could be a bigger and longer-lasting value to Game Pass, Microsoft, and the ecosystem with multiplayer. And I pointed to 3 things. I said, look to Skyrim, look to Fallout 76, and then look to the future. And when I pointed to Skyrim, I said, one of the biggest absences from that game many people felt was, I can't play with my buddy. And we sort of saw that answered in Elder Scrolls Online. And so, Elder Scrolls Online comes out, and it's basically the answer to Skyrim. It's like, well, we got Skyrim over here, and you can't really play with your buddies. Well, if you want to play with somebody online in the world of Elder Scrolls, here's Elder Scrolls Online. Then if you look at Fallout 76, I don't think Fallout 76 is just nothing but a blemish on Bethesda's history. I think Fallout 76 has come very far. I think it still garners pretty good engagement. 10,000 player peaks a day on Steam 5 years after a bad release. It's pretty impressive. Why not take everything you learned from Fallout 76 and put it in a game like Starfield? And then the last thing I said was, look to the future. Look to the future of Xbox and Game Pass. Look to the fact that Bethesda is no longer just Bethesda. Bethesda is an Xbox developer, which means they are going to be making games for Game Pass. It's not a slam to say that, by the way. Like, y'all can't be all out here defending the Activision Blizzard deal, and the main reason I get every day, whether it's on Twitter or whether it's in my YouTube chat, people are like, oh, the Activision Blizzard deal is good and should go through. Why? Oh, because I'm going to get all these games on Game Pass. Well, then you can't push back on me saying Bethesda's not Bethesda anymore. Bethesda's a Game Pass developer. That they've been acquired, and according to you, that acquisition, that acquiring of companies is good. Why? Because these games go on Game Pass. Well, then everybody that ends up under Microsoft's ownership is essentially a Game Pass developer, and that has to be considered in the grand scheme of things. What are these heart emojis? So on mobile, you can like smack this thing down in the corner. I'd prefer people smack the like button. With almost 500 people here, we are totally slacking, and the back end metrics are still completely and utterly jacked up. It's telling me that we have 66 concurrent viewers and we have 477. I don't know what they're doing. I'm in the dark on what I was hoping YouTube would fix that within a day, and they still haven't fixed it. Apparently there's only 60 people watching. There's 60 people chatting, and my chat rate, it says, is at a 0, so it's not even recording your chat activity either on the back end. Like, okay, I think there's 66 people chatting. I need to watch the beginning of the convo to catch up. Yo, what's good, Isel? How are you? Fix it, YouTube. Fix it. That's right. If you want to recap, I don't know, can you rewind and watch openings on Kick? I don't know if that's possible. The Family Pass hasn't reached the U.S. yet. Conspiracy? I don't think it's a conspiracy. Did they officially announce a launch date? I don't think they did. They didn't announce an official launch date about Family Game Pass. Part of the reason I didn't like Fallout 76 as Orphan Twin was the big changes to how NPCs behave, which were only necessary for multiplayer to work. And Orphan, I think that goes hand in hand with what 809 Lion was saying, with what Jake was saying, with what Chapter 8 was saying. They were all saying, listen, if you're going to add multiplayer, just don't take away from the single player. That was their point. Was it, no. Don't you take away from my single player. I want a really good single player game. I want to sink 100 hours into Starfield. And if you start doing all this multiplayer crap, then I stand to lose. I can kind of agree with that. A $2 tip from Ashen. Slap. This stream can only fit so many likes in it. Thank you so much, Ashen. Yeah, Kick is live only. Yeah. I wasn't sure. If there's 60 people here, I'm proud to be one of them. Yeah, YouTube was having an issue yesterday. Both the premiere and the live stream said that we had like nobody watching. But then if you look at the actual total view count, it's like, well, clearly people were watching. I'm not sure what's going on. I also think the join button is broken today. So is the gifted membership button. It's not working. What part of Starfield combat looks promising? Well, I'll tell you what, Chris. At a ground level, I think all of the customization and the skill trees look promising. I think the gun crafting looks promising. The one clip where they show the guy editing the gun and then he's like using the gun on like a dinosaur-looking alien, I think that looks pretty good. Now, I will say gunplay in a lot of the initial gameplay reveal didn't look very good. But then recently, when they had their little announcement about the showcase, there was new footage behind Todd Howard, and I thought, hey, that all looks pretty good. I think that looks solid. I think it looks like, hey, they've improved some of it. Now, I'm not going to argue that like footage in the background of a studio on a television screen is compelling or convincing, but it did look noticeably better. There was a better fluidity, there was better player feedback, there was better animations and recoil, right? So you joined successfully. I was being silly. They already said the main campaign is 30 to 40 hours long. Right, and so that's why I conceded that point. I said, listen, okay, that's fine. If you guys are worried multiplayer will pull away from single player, point well made, right? Point well made, then have them add it later. I've continued to say it would make a great, a companion update, Hey, come play this game and bring a buddy along with you, right? Gun customization is different from combat, in my opinion. Fallout had great gun customization, but the combat's still mediocre. Well, for sure. What I'm saying is, you asked if it looks promising. That's a reason that I felt like it looked promising. He messed with his gun, he customized it, and then he took it out in the field, and it looked okay. It didn't look terrible. I'll agree with you that the gun crafting and the gun customization in Fallout 4 was pretty dope, but the gunplay left a lot to be desired for. It didn't feel all that wonderful. It felt kind of stiff. It felt kind of clunky. It felt like you kind of had to use the targeting thing or whatever that's just the VAT system. That was the only real way to, to engage in combat efficiently. I got into PC gaming through mods, especially Bethesda games like Oblivion and Skyrim. Mods are essential. Multiplayer can cause issues with mods by having changes to the game files. Okay, I can see that. And maybe that would be something they'd have to consider, is that if you're gonna download maybe the multiplayer update would be totally optional. And if you download that multiplayer update, they can't guarantee compatibility with mods or something like that. Immortal Turtle says, something else to consider. Bethesda games are also known because of their replay value. Since this is the type of game that has story options, I don't see going multiplayer as much of an option. Most players enjoy games like Fallout 4 or Skyrim because you can start fresh, and from your start, your choices, they kind of matter. If you include multiplayer, then you'll have to have like-minded people who would want to or be willing to restart the game with you. And if you want to go through different options, unless they're implementing something like your world is yours and your friends only experience the options you make without affecting their own save file. A lot of folks don't seem to like that kind of style of game. I don't agree with that at all. I think plenty... What do you mean they don't like that kind of game? Some of the most popular games in the world are games where you play with other people. Are you saying where you have your own save file and you're not really playing together? I don't think I agree with you, though. I think it's very presumptive to think that a lot of folks don't like that kind of game. Here's the thing I think people are forgetting. This is not just a play the game over and over again kind of game. As far as I can tell, Starfield is creating a place for you to stay in for a long time. Like, customizing your ship, building bases, hiring people to work those bases, hiring people to work on your ship. I don't think this is the kind of game you're going to throw over your shoulder and then start with the fresh save. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying people won't do that, but what I am saying is there are plenty of people that would be like, bro, I'm not starting over. Are you kidding me? Like, I've got this base that I want to make. I've got a new base I want to start. I got people that I've hired. I'm expanding my ship. I've got staff on my ship. There's a longer, in my mind, there's a longer stay time. There's a longer endurance time in this game maybe than others because of the building and the bases and the ship. It'd be pretty cool to add multiplayer. Just imagine meeting up with a friend on a different planet or race a friend to a planet. But just make a multiplayer mode. Creature says, wouldn't Microsoft and Bethesda have a reason to create a way for this to be a play it over and over, at least continued engagement? But that's the thing. I don't think these things are juxtaposed against each other. I don't think starting over and being like, okay, last time I did a gun, like a long-range gun build. This time I want to do a more melee-focused build. I don't think that is at odds with people playing with each other. Planets to explore, things to do, says Eugene. Right. There are a lot of systems and mechanics to learn in ESO, but once you get a grasp, it's great. I always thought ESO was excellent. I wish I had time for it. Pat Gaming says, the reason Skyrim gets so many mods nowadays is that the game doesn't update much anymore. Less breaking of mods due to the EXE not changing. Yeah, and I could see that being a factor in what people were saying earlier. They were saying like, no, you don't want to do a multiplayer. You don't. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you do multiplayer, you're gonna break all of the mods that people are working on. Listen, I say this and I mean this. I don't give a frick about the modding community, and I don't mean that as an insult. I don't care about them. I don't argue for them. Now, Bethesda might care about them, but as a gamer, I don't care about them. I'm buying a game where I can explore the galaxy, and I can build bases, and I can be Jean-Luc Picard, and I can be Captain Kirk. and wanting to do that with a buddy and hearing from people like, well, it'll break the mods. The modders will be mad. I don't give a hoot and a holler about them. They don't matter to me. Suck it up, Cupcake. No one guaranteed that you'd be able to mod the game and never have to do anything. No, you know what I'm saying? You're not guaranteed that they don't do anything to the game. Number one, you're not entitled to that. You're not. If they need to update the game, if they want to add things to the game, if they want to add features and updates, well, then they're going to do that, right? Listen, I'm be honest with you. If we get 6 months into Starfield and they're basically like, yeah, we've moved on to the next project, we don't really want to do any big updates because it'll break the modding community, I'll be fundamentally disappointed. Like, oh, really? So you don't update the game, you don't add anything, don't expand the game, don't update the game, make the game better because you're worried about the modding community. That prioritization, in my mind, is stupid and doesn't make you any money. I don't think that makes you any money. I don't think that puts anybody on Game Pass. I don't think that keeps anybody on Game Pass. Listen, from a business perspective, the modding community, they're just going to have to suck it up for 12 months. If I'm in charge, if I'm Bethesda and I'm Microsoft, I don't care about that, right? I don't care about that. Are they generating money? No? Then who cares? If we update the game in 3 months and we do this big companion update and it's going to let people play together and it brings more people into Game Pass. Hey, man, you can play Starfield with me now. Hey, man, they just pushed out this big expansion. Hey, man, they just did this big, huge update in the game. Oh, it's awesome. They added all these new things. They added all these new ship expansion types and weapon types. And, playing through the game afresh now feels so much better. And the modding community's over there like, yeah, you broke all of our mods. Oh, so? Who cares? Is the modding community monetized? No. Then they don't matter beyond goodwill. Eugene says jinx. Yeah, stream delay. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's awesome that you can look and say, look at the number of downloads of mods for Skyrim and Fallout and all this. Okay, did that put money in the bank? Did it? Like, I think it's cool that modders flock to games like this and the creation engine is so moddable. I think it's awesome. Like, the first time I saw some of the mods in Skyrim, I was like, that's freaking dope. But if you're going to shackle the game to a certain lane or a certain, well, we can't do that or we can't add that or we can't update this because of the modding community, then I'm sorry, your game is a terrible fit for Game Pass. It sounds like a PC game in disguise. Bethesda cares about the modding community. That's good enough for me. Doesn't mean it's good enough for Microsoft. That's who they answer to now. They don't answer to the modding community. Bethesda answers to Microsoft. And Microsoft might say, listen, modding is cool, but you know what's cooler? Keeping people on Game Pass. Hey, that modding community on PC is pretty awesome, but we got an ecosystem to foster. And that's way more important than your modding community. You answer to us now. Like, we've continued to say that we think one of the reasons that Starfield was delayed was because of Series S optimization. Well, those marching orders, if we're correct, those marching orders didn't come necessarily from Todd Howard. They came from Microsoft, right? It's not surprising at all that we had leaks saying that, like, yeah, Redfall was in trouble. They got their internal delay to May. Microsoft really wants Starfield out in June, but Bethesda would like to bump it back. Look what happened. Starfield lands in May, and then, I'm sorry, Redfall lands in May, and then Starfield lands in a couple months after June, just like people were saying in that one leak. It's like, well, if that's the way it's going, if those leaks are to be believed, then Microsoft's more involved. Microsoft's got engineers helping the Starfield developers. So, listen, I'm not saying that they're going to abandon the modding community. I'm just not, I don't find it very compelling to be like, well, bringing multiplayer to Starfield, yeah, that'd mess the modders up. Oh, I don't find that very compelling, because I'm thinking from the perspective of if I'm trying to foster an ecosystem, if I'm trying to foster Game Pass, then I'm not concerned about those people, at least not initially. bring multiplayer to all single-player games. I don't necessarily think that's needed. I think some games it makes more sense, and in other games it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make much sense in a game where you're playing through as one person, right? When you're playing through Tomb Raider, or you're playing through, a game where there's like a main character and it's all about them and their struggle, you can't just drop somebody in the game, right? Like Lara Croft's out here raiding tombs and being awesome and being strong and surviving off the land. And you're like, yeah, let's drop in a co-op companion. Hi, I'm Carl. Like, who the frick are you? Why are you here? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, some games it doesn't fit. Why would they not optimize for their own box optimization? That's probably the best thing that they did, in my opinion. I didn't say it was a bad decision. I'm saying we've theorized that certain elements of Starfield changed at Microsoft's directive, meaning that they answer to them now. I don't care about multiplayer coming or not, as long as it doesn't ruin mods. True SSJ Havoc says, mods are essential, Lono. The game won't survive otherwise. Disagree. That's not what a game survives on. If you think mods are required for a game to survive, then Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 would like to have a word. Those games have survived because of excellent updates and content for people to go play. Like a game, quote unquote, surviving on the backs of mods, I just think that's presumptive. I just think that's incredibly presumptive. I don't think that's how Starfield survives. Like, if you look at the scope of what they've built in Starfield, and you're like, oh man, this game was only going to survive with mods, then you have zero confidence in the game that I'm looking at. I'm looking at a massive game with massive potential for like people playing and replaying and them adding content and them adding story, right? I don't know. I think this game can go the distance with the support of the developer, right? With the support of the developer. Now, I'm not saying that the modding community won't do amazing things. I'm not creating a false binary here. I actually think the modding community will do fantastic things. There will probably be entire Star Wars storylines that people create, or Star Trek storylines that people create. And that's awesome. I'm not saying that those things won't happen. Honestly, if I'm Microsoft and I'm Bethesda, I'd figure out a way to monetize that like some kind of a Roblox thing or some kind of a Fortnite creative thing. If you got people creating virtually like almost like miniature games and DLC in your game, then monetize that crap. Make some money. What in the frick are you doing? The game's as cool as the name is long. That's right. Making a game that can survive for 10 years without making more money off those players is bad business. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why on earth would they want to have a game running for 10 years generating no revenue? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. Does Game Pass even allow mods, or do you need to buy the game to use mods? I highly doubt we're going to get mod support on Xbox. I don't know. I would think that mod support would be primarily a PC thing. Listen. You have to understand something. I know very little about the mods in the game, and so does everybody else that's going to be playing this. This thing is on front and center radar of so many people. Next to Zelda, probably Diablo 4 might be a little bit more anticipated just because it's so much more commercially long-standing as a franchise. Like, that probably helps it. Starfield's probably in the top 3 most anticipated games this year. And I guarantee you a large majority of the people downloading it and playing it are like, mods? What mods? What are you talking about? Fallout 4 had mods on Xbox. I remember they added mod support for Fallout 4 later. It came later, but it wasn't there initially. I feel like it was a couple of years after the game's release. I don't remember when they actually added that. Why does every Xbox Game Pass have to be multiplayer? In my opinion, that doesn't make any sense. Let the game be. I didn't argue that it had to have multiplayer. I said it made good sense. Right? Like, think about it. If you're playing a game in the first month that it comes out on Game Pass, and all your friends are playing, and you cannot play together, and then you compare that to a game that comes out, and it's open world, it's this RPG, and you can play together, and you can go on missions together, like, let's say, I don't know, Diablo 4. Which game do you think is more likely to get your engagement in months 2, 3, and 4? Now, for some people, it would be the single-player game. I'm not denying that. There are definitely people that would be like, oh, 100%, I would spend more time in the single-player game. Okay? But I think more and more people, especially those who game on Xbox, they commonly talk about how Xbox is the better multiplayer platform. I think they would gravitate towards the multiplayer game. That's what I think. Guys, we're almost an hour in. Make sure you're smashing the like button. The YouTube goal is looking sad over there with a 0 on it. And then Butters says the latest Skyrim release has 200 mods built into it. Okay, I think you guys are making a horrible mistake. You're conflating something, and it's a chronological mistake. You guys are looking at how mod support came to Fallout 4. Like, I don't even know when. It was maybe a year more after release. I'd have to look up the timeline. And Skyrim is ancient at this point. It's a fossil. So, yeah, you can go download Skyrim, and it has all these mods in it. Why? Because the devs aren't doing anything, okay? So, just track with me here. If I'm Microsoft, and I'm looking at this game, and I'm thinking, hey, you want this game to last. We want this game to be interwoven to the value of Game Pass. We want this to be interwoven to the value of Game Pass. Then, hey, let's update this game for the next year. Let's add some stuff. Let's add a companion update. Let's add content. Let's add story. Well, what about the modding community? Listen, the modding community is going to mod, and let them mod. That's fine. They'll figure it out. A year from now, when we taper off our update support and our trajectory of add-ons, they can take over and they can have a ball. And then we can bring mod support to console. And then we can bring mod support, not just to be on the PC. I think he's saying that Skyrim Anniversary Edition has mods added to it at the baseline. Yes, which has absolutely zero refutation as to what I'm saying. It adds weight to what I'm saying. Some of you guys come in and you put earplugs in and you pick up an axe. You're not listening to me. I just said you're making a chronological mistake. Skyrim is ancient at this point. So yes, when you download a version of Skyrim now, it having mods has no bearing on what I'm saying. When Starfield lands, I want you to imagine what some of y'all seem to be saying. Well, because of the mod support, look how many mods are in Fallout. Mod support came to Fallout on console. Look at all the mods that came with Skyrim. So when Starfield comes out, basically Bethesda better take their hands off the game and just hand it over to the mod community. That doesn't make any sense to me. So they're not supposed to add anything. Don't do any substantive updates. Don't do multiplayer. Don't do co-op. Don't add anything new. Don't add any expansions. Don't do anything tectonic enough to mess with the modding community. We buy Starfield vanilla, and then they hand it off to the modding community, just embracing the trope that the modding community saves the game. I feel like y'all aren't listening. I don't even think you're listening to what you're saying yourself. Yes, there's tons of mods in Fallout and Skyrim, and it's carried those games for years, and there's millions of downloads, but why does that mean they can't do anything with Starfield in the wake of its release? They're just supposed to hand it over to the mods? Who's saying don't add anything? Listen, they're essentially saying if you add this stuff, it'll mess with the modding community, and I'm like, who the frick cares about that? Redfall officially tweeting, Redfall's launching on Xbox consoles with quality mode only. The Xbox Series X 4K 30 and 1440 30. How's your first party exclusive? How is it? Give me a frickin' break. Oh my gosh. Now we know why gameplay capture has been locked down, and we've only seen Steam gameplay. LOL, now we know why gameplay capture has been so locked down, and we've only seen Steam gameplay. Oh, frick, I'm on the wrong account. No, undo. I don't want to tweet that on that account. Hang on. It's gonna be a great game. Everybody. Yeah. Remember when people were saying that, like, the rumors about, like, Redfall wasn't ready? Y'all are just being haters. Wow, yeah, it sounds so ready. It's literally launching 30 FPS only. I can't wait for the same tweet about Starfield. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely friggin' amazing. Your pony is showing. You're done here. Listen, I've been looking forward to both Redfall and Starfield since they were announced. I don't give a frick where I have to play them. They looked like good games. But I also have standards, right? You may date a water chestnut from a river that's soaked in piss. I have standards, okay? I have standards. I bought next-gen consoles because, I don't know, I want to play next-gen games. And 30 FPS ain't it. It ain't it. This is going to burn the world down. Redfall is launching 30 FPS only. It's launching literally with only quality mode. You can't get 60 FPS. 60 FPS performance mode will be added to the game later. But it was ready. That's why sometimes I just let him rant and say nothing because of threat of bans. I'll just help you out. We'll take a passive shot. You could have took a shot at my chin like a man, but you didn't, and you got banned anyways. You'd be upset by this news. You're literally brimming ear to ear with a big smile. That doesn't seem like somebody just got bad news to a game that we're looking to play. No. Make no mistake. I'm grinning ear to ear because I called this. I like being right. Do you understand? I had to listen to people give me grief when I said, I don't think Redfall's ready. I think they're being really weird with the gameplay. Why aren't they letting people show their capture? Just yesterday, I did a stream and I said, this is just like Forspoken. And I was really harsh with Forspoken. Ironically enough, Redfall was being compared to Forspoken, and yet both Redfall and Forspoken did the same thing. So yes, I'm laughing and I'm smiling because we said that this was going to happen, and we were called haters and we were called ponies. And then when it comes true, what am I supposed to do? Get out a box of Kleenexes and cry? Oh, I'm not going to get 60 FPS. No, I freaking told you. I told you this game wasn't ready. I told people, I said this. They did this with Forspoken, and Forspoken was mediocre and bad. Like, I played the Forspoken demo, I played the Forspoken game at launch, and called it bad. Isn't that supposed to be essentially a PlayStation title in many people's minds? I was really harsh on that game. And all I've ever done is look at gameplay and make predictions. I did the same thing with Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights has nothing to do with the platform. I did the exact same thing with Gotham Knights that I have done with Forspoken. Because I looked at Forspoken gameplay, I looked at Forspoken dialogue, and I said, nope, problems. There's problems here. Something's wrong with this game. I looked at Gotham Knights gameplay. I said, nope, problems. There's something wrong with this game. And what happened? Right before Gotham Knights comes out, we find out it's 30 FPS. And, oh, what happened with Forspoken? It comes out, it's mediocre. And, oh, what happened with Redfall? Right on the cusp of the game coming out, we find out, yeah, it's not even launching with performance mode. And you say I'm a pony because why? I got a good batting average and you don't like seeing your game hit with it? Like, grow the frick up. I've done this with every game that's come across my path for the past 8 years. I don't care what the frick the game lands on. Like, Gotham Knights was everywhere. Trashed it. I was like, this is garbage. This is a mobile game. And look at the reception of that game. Look at the garbage that came out. Like, come on. I don't care where the game lands. It doesn't matter to me. It's not important. You already made a conclusion before the game comes out? What about the previews? Amos, I just told you and gave you examples of multiple games where I looked at the gameplay and I said, something's wrong. Something is amiss. I don't care about the previews. There were positive previews about Forspoken. Did that make the game good? There were positive previews about Gotham Knights. Did that make the game good? You want to go back in time? You want to go back in time and look at all the positive previews about those games? Does that change reality? Look at the review scores of Gotham Knights, and what are you going to dry your tears with the previews when they go, but there was good previews. That was a really good time. When people thought the game was going to be good because of people who tend to say positive things so that they get good benefits and good relationships and ongoing code usage and early access from the developers and the publishers. But I don't know why all these positive previews didn't come true. What the frick, bro? Like, positive previews don't mean anything. They delayed this game. I'm on it. I'm all the way up on the soapbox. You could throw as many tomatoes and childish insults at me as you want. I'm on the soapbox. They delayed this game and increased the price, and it doesn't have performance mode. But I'm a pony. How much are you willing to accept before you see you're not getting quality? I'm not saying every game. But are you going to have to just keep... What, are you just going to keep running back to Forza? You just going to keep running back to Hi-Fi Rush? Previews are lies? No, I didn't say that. Previews lean positive. They like to keep those relationships open. You don't think that people want to keep an open early access PR marketing funnel with Microsoft as their... magazine, blog, YouTube channel is based in the West with primarily a Western audience? You don't think that there's somehow a reason that previews tend to lean pretty kind? That doesn't mean they're lying. That means they pull their punches. They're like, oh, it was a pretty good game. Some problems. Yeah, it was pretty solid. Like, all you gotta do is look at Gotham Knights. Look at Gotham Knights. I said the same thing about Plague Tale Requiem. Plague Tale Requiem was basically everywhere, wasn't it? Was that considered an Xbox title? I can't even remember at this point. We've covered so many games. I was super harsh with Plague Tale Requiem. Why? Because of performance. I don't care if it's an Xbox game or a Sony game. I literally have an upload right now where I am super harsh with Naughty Dog. I tell them that there's a lack of ownership, there's a lack of clarity, and it's completely unacceptable and embarrassing what happened with The Last of Us port. I have an upload, and that I literally read through their blog. I say that it's unsatisfactory, there's a lack of ownership and clarity on what in the world happened. What previews are glowing? Well, I mean, Xbox pundits are saying that Redfall's amazing, but PC Gamer said it was a stumble. I read at least 2 previews that said, yeah, this is pretty much, standard affair for this genre. Wow, that's glowing. Naughty Dog peaked at Bandicoot. I think they peaked when they won Game Awards. I think that's when they peaked. I think when they won Game of the Year awards is when we would say they peaked. Redfall gonna be one heck of a flop. Awards mean nothing. So does your opinion. Literally, they make the game look so good, people will need to apologize to IGN. They show you the real gameplay. That's what I'm saying. Toasted notes. There we go. Come on. Give me some love here. Up on the soapbox, shouting and screaming. 5 gifted members, getting us close to our daily goal. It goes to the Hawan, Birdie Skywalker, Daniel Smith, Steven, and Ryan. You guys all got gifted memberships. Guys, if you want to get that Eknor award, the person who gifts the most members in a month gets a free bag of coffee, and you get honored with the eternal, the immortalized Eknor. It's competent. 5 out of 5. Another banger for Xbox. Just a bummer to see Xbox continue to come out with disappointments. Lono, it should be 625. We haven't gotten a brand new member today. What are you talking about? Renewals don't count. I can't count renewals, man. I would bleed cash if I gifted 5 members every 25 renewals. Do you have any idea? We have roughly 2,500 members, and if I had to gift 5 every time 5 people renewed, I would lose money. I'd be in the red. Supreme Samurai says I joined myself earlier in the stream. Wait, when did you do that? Was I doing my opening monologue? I didn't see that. I'm legitimately sorry. I didn't know. I'll add it. That's my fault. Supreme Samurai joined earlier. Sorry if he was a renewal. No, he's not a renewal because he has a white badge. Did he do it during the opening monologue? Yo, 5 gifted members from Rainbow. Dr. Dinglenut, Sean Rowe, P-Funk, Merc, and Mark. You guys all got gifted members. Oh, you did it during the opening. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's almost impossible for me to do that opening monologue and look at chat. There's just no way. I've got like a multi-page document that I'm reading through when I'm doing that, and I'm trying to look at the camera as much as I can because I want that show opening to be really, really good. That's my fault, Supreme Samurai. Thank you so much for joining on your own. I would love to see more people do that, actually. Gifted members are amazing. Every 25 gifted members, I'd love to see 5 people jump in on their own because that just gives us way, way more of a floor of support because I do this Monday through Friday, and this is my primary source of making a living, and you may look at this channel and think, how is that possible? Well, it's because of memberships, because we're not running ads. We're not a channel that drives volume enough to do ad revenue. We get ad revenue, but not what you would be able to live off of. You got to be a pretty large channel for that. And we'll be there one day. But right now, this broadcast, this daily stream is literally made possible by memberships. We all know TLU's a good story game. Bugs can be fixed. I mean, that's all anybody's going to do. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee about a half an hour ago. I'm so sorry. Toasty Notes with a bag of light roast. Thank you so much. Don't forget, as a member, to get into our members-only Discord, we're doing a buy 2, get 1 free on the coffee, and the holiday blend's marked down to $12.95. That means you can get 3 bags of coffee for like $26. Lono, hopefully the gameplay for Redfall is really good so people will be okay with waiting for the frame rate update. I'm not okay with that. What? I'm cannibalizing this stream, and I guess I just don't care. What in the world is in that game that's preventing me from getting 60 FPS? I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen any level of graphical fidelity that would require me to not get 60 FPS. What is it? I'm telling you right now, this is the first of many games, and it's the Series S. I blame the Series S. I blame the Series S. It does not stand to reason that Arcane can't give me 60 FPS on the Series X. That just doesn't stand to reason, dude. It doesn't stand to reason, bro. Wheezy says, I can't stress this enough. In 2023, there's too many good games for me to play 30 FPS. I will never play your game. Listen. Everything makes sense now. Everything makes sense now. The PR, the montage creation, the hedging, we won't let anybody record their own gameplay, making sure all the gameplay debuts are on Steam of all places. It all makes sense now. All the planets have aligned. It all makes sense. The game isn't ready. It's not ready. It's that simple. Eugene says nothing is preventing it other than Microsoft forcing it to release before it's ready so that they can add value to Game Pass. Remember the leaks the bloggers crapped on? Yep. Here we sit. That guy that said, he freaking called it. I told you that I said this leak reads like real information. That guy said, Redfall's not ready, and they're only getting a slight delay. Redfall's in bad shape. He said Starfield's in worse shape, and Microsoft wants it out in June, but Bethesda would like to push it back. And look where we sit. Internal delay for Redfall, and then Starfield lands just a few months after June. And wow, all the dunking, all the trash talk about that leak. And here we sit. Redfall isn't ready to launch. Wow. Seems like those leakers were onto something. Huh. Seems weird that there was a unified rejection of those leaks from people who lean pro-Microsoft. Huh. That's just weird, isn't it? Almost as if there's marching orders. Almost as if there's been a coordinated PR effort with this game. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm surprised they even tweeted that. I really am. If you guys are tuning in because of the Redfall thing, we were talking Starfield multiplayer. The stream's been completely hijacked by this, and I'm just kind of letting it happen. Derek says, I don't know, man. That Redfall on PC gameplay we saw yesterday sure makes the Xbox look good. He did say Diablo 4 was in a rough position, and they were crunching heavy to get it out in June. Yeah. Did you see anything in Diablo 4 that makes that not seem close to accurate, Wheezy? I think a lot of people have said they feel like Diablo 4 is not ready. A lot of people have said that. What if that guy's right? What if he was right about all of it? What if he was right about all of it? This whole time, that guy got dogged on, slapped around, and he's doing pretty well right now. His batting average just jumped way up. Wait a minute. We forgot to calculate here. Well, his batting average is actually quite good. And now, Reforge breaking news. Arcane trying to get ahead of the drama before launch. Sure, they're hoping people will cool down and play it in a few weeks. Oh, Wheezy, you're saying you're just remembering what else he said. Right. What if he was right, bro? If he was right... Ooh, poor Diablo 4. You got my man going full falsetto. I just can't, dude. I can't do it. Everyone was like, yeah, Redfall, man, game of the year material, baby. Here comes Redfall. Here it comes. Oh, yeah. I said, now we know why gameplay capture has been so locked down, and we've only seen Steam gameplay. Oh, man. This is not great news for Starfield, somebody said. Glad I'm playing this on PC. Lamau. Poverty game. Oh no, this is not going good. Bots will blame the Sony and Jim Ryan. It's clearly Sony's fault. I think this is somehow Sony's fault. I would assume reviews would point this out, so the dev's probably getting ahead of it. Right. Yeah. On the plus side, the latest Xbox update's rolling out this week, and a new power settings and a sleeker search feature. Oh, okay. I just love that people are like, yeah, Sony doesn't have anything coming out. Sony's got nothing. Horizon Forbidden West has DLC this month, and you have Redfall. Okay. Yo, what's good, McD09? Why would Sony do this? Why would Sony do this to poor Redfall? Delayed game had its price increase to $70. Listen. It's already happening. I can hear it. Listen. Shh. The spin is coming. They're going to blame Bethesda. Yo, my man, Doc. I know you're hot, bro. You're heated. Bro. 30 FPS, bro. 30. Listen. They delayed the game, brother. And it's $70. 30 FPS. Doc, save us. I can't wait for your video. My man's going to start his video. He's going to go, Doc1985. There's levels to this. And he's going to go, he's going to like literally stew for 30 seconds. He's going to stew for 30 seconds. He'll adjust his shirt 20 times. He'll fix his mic and be like, what are you doing? 30 FPS. My man's gonna pop a blood vessel out of his forehead. Like, he's gonna be so mad. I'm mad. Listen. This is gonna be the second co-op game that I don't play with my wife because it's 30 FPS. Bro, I didn't play Gotham Knights. I was looking forward to it. I was like, oh, Gotham Knights will be so fun to play with my wife. We got 2 TVs in the living room. We got our 2 PlayStations. We were playing some Returnal. Now we're going to play some Gotham Knights. Oh my gosh, I was going to play Redfall 3. Bro, I'm not playing Redfall in my living room with my really nice televisions at 30 FPS. Get the frick out of here. I didn't buy a Series X for that. I didn't. A $5 tip from Darth Biscuit just got here. What did I miss? Oh, I'm so mad right now. They delayed the effing game, raised the price, and now it's 30 FPS at launch. And this is the company that people want to own, ABK. Woo! Yeah, man. Let's just hand Activision Blizzard to Microsoft, dude. Let's do it. I told you. Game companies under Microsoft, this is the beginning. This is just the beginning. I'm telling you, it's the Series S. I said it, and I'll say it again. The Xbox Series S is a self-made Trojan horse. Who else could be blamed for this? There is no way. I haven't seen anything in Redfall gameplay that would dictate not getting 60 FPS on the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series X is a really strong machine. It's a great gaming console, and I haven't seen anything in Redfall that can't hit 60 FPS. It's the Series S. You hamstrung your entire generation. I bought into it. I've got the hardware, and your first big first-party release of the year is launching with old-gen performance. Take a walk. It clearly isn't a demanding game. Yeah, it isn't. They've not, listen, and I defended the game yesterday about this. I said, do I have the scene switcher going? I don't. I defended the game yesterday about this. I said, listen, because people were saying it didn't look that graphically impressive. And I said, that's fine. I said, that's totally fine. A game like this doesn't need to have high level of graphical fidelity. That's not the type of game that it's going to be. The art direction of the game, I think it's fine. I think it's stylized. I defended it. In that same line of thinking, in that same vein of thought, what the frick, man? Why can't you... I can't get 60 FPS at launch? Your game doesn't even look that impressive, bro. Yeah, Creature says Sony's concerned about getting a downgraded version of a game is not just because they're concerned that they're going to downgrade it for Sony, but they're concerned that Microsoft just downgrades games in general. Where are all the Sony is crying guys tonight? Well, where is the wait is over comment? Something seems off to me. No, it's Paul, it's launching with quality mode only. Performance mode's going to get added later. Yo, my man, F the cat, can you, what's your username on YouTube? I would like to unban you on my channel. As an Xbox guy, you have my permission to rant. Release the ponies. I'm telling you. Everybody said I was a hater. Everybody said I was a pony. But I told you guys, I said the Series S is going to be a serious problem. It's going to be a serious problem for this generation. And I think this is just the beginning. Just wait till Starfield launches. Just frickin' wait. Just wait, baby. Why is there so much popping off? Because they just revealed unstable connection. They just revealed that Redfall will launch without performance mode. It's only going to run at 30 FPS at launch. We have no direct evidence it's the Series S, just a theory so far. Yeah, this is just my theory. Listen. Track with the theory. I'm probably cannibalizing another show. That's fine. Listen to me, you sons of guns. If I do this with you right now, you better come back if I do this as a talk show. Do you hear me? If I will shut the show down right now. I'm doing this because it's hot and it's here. If I do this as another show, you guys better click on it. Don't you abandon me because we talked about it today. All right. And give me some more members. What the frick's going on over here? Listen. The logic here is sound. I haven't seen anything from Redfall that would say this thing is going to struggle on the Series X. I haven't seen anything in performance that would tell me that. There's nothing. There's nothing. It's a basic game, and that's fine. That's totally fine. You're allowed to launch fun, arcade-ish games. You're allowed to, all right? But then I should get performance from it then. The only conclusion I can come to is that Arcane is suddenly terrible. I think I said Bethesda earlier, which basically is a Bethesda title. I could see somebody trying to blame Arcane, but seriously? Arcane? Come on. They can't get this game to run at 60 FPS on the Series X? I refuse to believe that, bro. I refuse to believe that. How is the Series S holding the generation back when you still got big AAA games coming out on the PS4? Not only that, but look at even Ghostwire Tokyo yesterday coming out. It has a performance mode on the Series S. Do you want to go read the reviews about how Ghostwire is running on the Xbox? Maybe reevaluate what you're saying? And big AAA games that were coming out on the PS4 were already in development for the PS4 because they were using similar engines and architecture, and the development cycles were overlapping the generations of consoles, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. That's nothing to do with what we're talking about. There's clearly two versions of Horizon Forbidden West. There's the PS4 version, and then there's the PS5 version. When you play a game on Xbox, they have to like make a next-gen version and then hobble it. You don't get like a true next-gen version. Are they real reviewers? I played it and it runs totally fine. Windows Central wrote the article that I read. Jez Corden wrote an article that said that the performance on the Xbox was abysmal. His words. Abysmal. He earned some respect, I think. It was like, okay. He was like, yeah, it's abysmal. Now, it's not a first-party title, so he's probably a little bit more free to get the bat out. If the Series X could hit 60 FPS, but only 30 FPS on the S, does Microsoft, because of parity, not allow the game to run on the Series X at 60 when the S can do it too? There's plenty of games right now that do that, Dave, so I don't know. Look what I posted in the Discord. Wheezy says, I will recant my previous statement I made years ago. I said no way Microsoft will release a first-party title on the Series X that's only 30 FPS. I was very, very wrong. This falls squarely onto Microsoft. This is genuinely unsettling. Microsoft will effing push out a game and tell you, come back later for an actual next-gen version. Don't worry, you effing idiot. You're still paying for Game Pass anyways. Nah, this makes me hot. Yeah, I mean, Deathloop had performance mode, dynamic 4K performance prioritized, no ray tracing, 60 FPS. They had visual quality mode, dynamic 4K graphic fidelity prioritized, no ray tracing, 60 FPS with drops, and a ray tracing mode, dynamic 4K graphics fidelity prioritized, ray tracing enabled 30 FPS. It's not Arcane. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens. I had to walk away for a second. The minute a developer is only making for Xbox, I've been trying to tell y'all. Nobody listens. Everybody wants to call me a pony. I've been trying to tell y'all. Arcane, Deathloop, performance. No issues, no problems. My issues with Deathloop were never about performance. It was always, I didn't think it was a very creative game. I didn't like the gameplay loop. I didn't think it was that innovative, right? I didn't think it deserved 9s and 10s out of 10s, but I never had an issue with Deathloop's performance. And as soon as a developer is making something just for Xbox, what do we got? Creature says a light bulb went off for me. This is Sony's concern about the downgraded versions of games. You should see Cowboy's new video. I saw it. Cowboy shouldn't do me like that. How is Cowboy going to do me like that? Puts me on his thumbnail, puts me in the video looking stupid like I'm making a derp face, and then you have the nerve to say he explained it better than me? Listen, I know probably mid-rant when I was going off about Sony's fiduciary duty, you had to go Google the definition of fiduciary duty, but you're going to try and tell me that Cowboy explained the business impetus for Jim Ryan's efforts in the acquisition pushback. He explained it better than me? The frick out of here. Frick out of here, bro. Making me look stupid. I'm making a derp face in that video. That Cowboy he had no right to do me like that. I deserve a little bit more respect. Making me look dumb. Aaron Greenberg said on May 7th of 2020 that Xbox games outputs will have 60 FPS as the standard output, but the architecture allows up to 120. Oh, the standard output. Really, Aaron Greenberg. Can we look at all of the standard output of Series S performance? Lono, you're getting me heated. Sorry, folks. Starfield will launch at 20 FPS. We'll add 40 FPS later. Wheezy says, at least now I know that I don't have to worry about Starfield multiplayer ruining mods. The game will be ruined by 30 FPS anyways. So you know what? You can have your 30 FPS multiplayer, Lono. You win. I ain't got nothing to worry about. As you're playing dirty, Wheezy. You're playing dirty. Redfall's being destroyed on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it all makes sense now. Listen, put aside thinking I'm a pony for just a second. When you have been playing video games for as long as most of the people here, all right? If you're a huge Xbox fan, just for a second, understand that you and I have something in common. We have been playing video games for a very, very long time, which means we have likely also been watching video game marketing for a very long time. And when the record skips and something seems off, we tend to pick up on it. I felt like something was off with Gotham Knights. Remember when the Halo Infinite trailer debuted? It's like something's not right. Something is amiss. And then when the Redfall gameplay started coming out, I felt like something was amiss. I was like, I don't understand. Everything seems kind of slow. Everything seems kind of plodding. And then we find out that everybody that went to the preview event that is singing the game's praises, they couldn't use any of their own footage. And I thought, this sounds really similar to Forspoken. And I remember that causing me to be concerned. When SkillUp revealed that only a handful of people had been given preview copies of Forspoken, and even they could not, he got access to it, nobody could use their own recorded footage. I thought, wow, this sounds really similar to that. And Forspoken turned out to be a bad game. So you got Gotham Knights, you got Forspoken, and then you got Redfall. We are all experienced enough to know when we're being sold a bill of goods. We are all experienced gamers. We all know when something is amiss, something's not right. So don't sit here and turn this into a console war. This has nothing to do with whether or not you bleed green or you think I'm a Sony pony. This has everything to do with, bro, there is something wrong with this title. Something is off. And here we sit. The game's not ready. Now, that's not a dig at Arcane. That's not a dig at Bethesda. It's just the way of game development, bro. Everybody has the capacity to do this. My gosh, CD Projekt Red did it with Cyberpunk. That game wasn't ready. Yo, Blue Art with 19 months, welcome back in. Cowboy with the $5 tip says, but I did a spin kick, and my analogies were better than yours. I used hot dogs, fish, and wrestling belts as analogies, but this is for your suffering. Listen, your spin kick was mid, okay? I've seen better, all right? Your spin kick was okay. And listen, Cowboy, when you're this good, you don't need gimmicks like spin kicks, brother. I don't need to get out of the chair to do a spin kick. I get out of the chair to yell. Excuse me. One of the replies to the thread. Let's put it this way. Xbox and Bethesda will understand. Everyone disliked that. That's right. Why is the keck so big? It's a sticker instead of an emote. Gaming companies are trying to find loophole pushing unfinished, underdeveloped games at full price. Since this is blowing up in Microsoft's faces, if Starfield really isn't ready, is there a good chance of another Starfield delay until 2024 so this won't happen to Starfield 2? Yo, Cowboy is wild, says Lion. Lono, Cowboy is old. That man about to hurt himself on stream. He'd be like, I pulled something. Shut the show down. I pulled something. Listen, if you guys are just tuning in because of the Redfall news, my Starfield multiplayer stream has gotten fully cannibalized. Yeah. Everybody was dunking on the Sony State of Play last night, like, oh, you only have one game to show? I'm like, bro, just hold on to your hat. Let them do their showcase. Redfall, more like red flag. This is not great news. It'll be the norm again now. Cross-gen is over. Look at Gotham Knights and Plague's Tale. If you want higher FPS, you need to be on PC. Or a PS5. This guy says it'll be the norm again now that cross-gen is over. Look at Gotham Knights and Plague Tale. If you want higher FPS, you need to be on PC. Yeah, or a PS5. Oh no. I had to do it to him. People like that honestly think that Gotham Knights and Plague Tale are representative of the market of next-gen games. Like, piss-poor optimized games, and you think those games are representative of performance. Really? Really? They just added like 4 120 FPS modes to Gran Turismo, and you're out here acting like Gotham Knights is demonstrable of what we're getting this gen. Sit down and be quiet. Sit down and be quiet. I got an endless supply of 60 FPS games on my PS5. I don't need to play your frickin' Gotham Knights trash or Plague Tale. I don't play 30 FPS games. Those games were poorly optimized everywhere. Gotham Knights ran bad on PC, and so did Plague Tale. They had problems. That's not indicative of this generation's power. I still haven't beaten Plague Tale 2 because it's 30 FPS. Thank God it's on Game Pass, or I'd be pissed I spent money on it. I was enjoying the story in Plague Tale 2 so much. I think it's a beautiful game. It's so well voice acted. And Doc Dark's always singing its praises, and I'm like, I can't play a 30 FPS game. It gives me a dadgum headache. Solemn says, I don't think they are trying to find a loophole. It's terrible PR. I think they're genuinely struggling to meet deadlines and meet the promises as demanded by their management, publishers, and the platform owners. Listen, I said this before. I said, listen to me. Microsoft walked out during the Xbox Bethesda showcase last year, and when they did that whole, in the next 12-month thing, that was 100% on Microsoft. The developers did not ask for that. We need to look at how many games aren't going to make the cut. Do you guys want to do that? Xbox showcase 12 months. You guys want to look at the image? And just look at how many games didn't make the cut. There's literally no way that wasn't something that Microsoft pushed. It was 100% them that did that. It was them. And the developers were probably like, bro, why'd you do that? All right, here. So, look. Starfield didn't make it. Boom, X across that one. Here. And let me drag this out of the way. All right. Starfield didn't make it in the first 12 months. Didn't make it. Forza Motorsport, not making it in the first 12 months. Stalker, not making it in the first 12 months. I don't think Flintlock has a release date yet. Not making it in the first 12 months. Where is it? Here's Ark 2, not making it in the first 12 months. Replaced, still doesn't have a release date. Not making it in the first 12 months. The only way some of these titles make it in the first 12 months is if they just suddenly have a release date. Right? A bunch of these games do not have release dates right now. A ton of these games don't have release dates now. Benedict Fox made it. Dead Space made it. I don't know about Ravenlock, and I don't know about this one. Oh, and then let's just do this. Let's just put this here. Oh, frick. That's terrible. Can I not do it? Here, let's just do this. There you go. There you go. 30 FPS. We made it. Wait, you're saying Eodin Chronicles is not making it? This one down. Wait. Where is it? This one here? Is Eodin Chronicles not making it? Why did everything get moved? Circles are hard. They really are hard. It's just some extension that I use in the browser. All the big exclusives never made it. Yeah, I mean, because look, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass. These are all Game Pass, day and date. Yeah, here, let's just do another one. I mean, I'm just going to take you on your word for it. That one didn't make it either. Redfall's 30 FPS? Yeah, at launch, it's 30 FPS. There is no performance mode when it launches. They just tweeted. Look at all the delays we've seen the last 2 years, says Solemn. Look at how many games have launched like crap and didn't delay, or even that did. I think the devs are actually struggling, not trying to screw you over. Yeah, I probably agree with that. Take out the PC games? Listen, the only reason I'm doing this is I'm just trying to show you, I think Microsoft pushed for this image to be created. I think Microsoft pushed for this. Because look at how many people aren't making it. What does this tell you right now? What does this image tell you? Redfall's not ready because it's coming out without performance mode, so it's not ready. Starfield didn't make it. Motorsport's not making it. Flintlock, Stalker 2, Eodin Chronicles, and Ark 2. None of these guys are making it. What does that tell you? It tells you that there's a disconnect between Xbox corporate, Microsoft corporate, and all these developers. That's what it tells you. Yeah, that Eodin Chronicles game is just still marked as coming soon. No release date. Pretty sure Eodin Chronicles is not releasing before June 2023. It's a multi-plat game, though. Thank you, Alapark. Never ascribe to malice, which is adequately explained by incompetence. Right. I don't think these devs are actively trying to screw you over and you know and be terrible on purpose. That's not that we don't need to assign malice to it. Does Ravenlock have a release date yet? Does Ravenlock? May 4th. Yeah, Ravenlock has a release date, so it's going to make it. What is that? Erebin Shadow? What is that? How do you even spell that? Erebin Shadow Legacy. No release date yet. There's another one. This one here. X that one. What about the 2022 list? Everything over here came out, did it not? Yeah, all this stuff behind me came out. This stuff all came out. Yeah, I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried about this. I'm trying to give you a picture of what we've been trying to say all along. Developers under Microsoft ownership don't do well. They don't do well. Look at the disconnect. Microsoft walks out and says, this is what you can enjoy over the next 12 months, right? They got 5 by 5. So the 25. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 of the 25 aren't making it. That's a pretty high percentage. If it was like 2 or 3, I would shrug that off. Like, yeah, no big deal. 8 titles? Oh, let's just count 9, because Redfall is releasing at 30 FPS. Let's just count that as it's not ready. I would count that and say, listen, this didn't really land in the next 12 months. A non-ready version landed. So 9 of your 25 didn't make it. You're getting close to half. couple more. If a couple more fall off, that's half. That's half of your games if a couple more fall off. What about Cocoon? Is Cocoon gonna make it? Cocoon game release date. Sometime in 2023. It's marked as coming soon. There's no way this freaking game down here is making it. It has to launch in the next 2 months to make it, and you don't have a release date yet. Probably not making it. It just keeps filling up. What about there's ones here we haven't even looked up. Legends of Runeterra release date. Okay. Wait. No. That's already come out. Hang on. It's got to have a 2023 release date. March 29th. Okay, so that one must have just came out. Good golly. That's a lot. That's a lot of titles not making it, man. I think the problem is you can say these games are coming in 12 months and then be late if you're selling the games. You shouldn't say that while people sit on pass. That is an excellent point, Hilly. That's an excellent point. You basically are showing people like, oh, hey, here's everything coming in the next 12 months. You better stay on Game Pass. And all these people stay on Game Pass and just boop, 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 boop. You just keep bumping the games back. What? 10 games. 10 out of 25 got bumped out of that next 12 months promise. That's a terrible ratio. 10 out of 25. Go take a quiz and get 15 answers right and 10 answers wrong and see how well you do. Saying all this crap is coming in 12 months to bait people to not cancel. It's slimy. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I really do. I really do think people are going to start coming over and saying, you were right. I think this generation, you're going to see a lot of people abandon that ecosystem and say, I'm done with this. I defended you. I stood up for you. I was patient. We said this was going to be Xbox's year. Enough's enough. Like, I think people are going to get tired of being made to look like fools. I don't think it's malicious. I think it's a lack of understanding of their own competence. Right, but Zubair, the point is, Microsoft's corporate and marketing efforts are at odds with what the developers are able to do. That's the problem. Microsoft wants to keep people on Game Pass, so they cook up an image and say, this is what you can look forward to over the next 12 months. And then out of the 25 games over here, 10 of them aren't ready. One of them's going to launch without performance mode, so it's a 30 FPS game, which is a frickin' joke. And 9 of them are landing after June. Yo, Demon Eyes takes us all the way to 21. Guys, I need your energy right now. Let's keep this going. Gift those members. Jump in as your own member. Hit that join button. Hit that $ button. It helps us do what we do. It only costs you $5 a month. I got to admit, YouTube is being extremely weird. We've had an amazing turnout today, and then I look on the back end, I'm like, this is one of the weakest performing Starfield videos I think we've ever done. Like, YouTube is having some serious problems on the back end. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to be affecting you guys and your experience at all. Everything's been very smooth today. I'll say this again, says Creature. Microsoft's methods and processes will never work in the creative space, but only in the technical. They've proven it now for 23 years. If you guys love this community, thank you, Demonize. If you guys just got a membership, get in our Discord. We have a buy two, get one free code in the Discord for the coffee just for members. You can get 3 bags of coffee for 26 bucks. That's an amazing per bag cost. And we've marked down the holiday blend to like $12.95, so you can kind of double whammy. This is on sale, and you can do a buy two, get one free. Get in the Discord. Yeah, wait until Redfall releases the 60 FPS patch. Listen. Let's just call it now. I'll tell you the talking points. I will tell you the talking points that these people are going to trot out. They're going to trot out Gotham Knights and Plague Tale Requiem and say those games were 30 FPS, which is a terrible defense, by the way, because those games' performance was bad and they were poorly optimized. Look at any tech analysis. The second thing they're going to say is 30 FPS is fine. I don't mind 30 FPS. The third thing they're going to say is, it doesn't really matter. We'll get that eventually. It doesn't matter. If it's a good game, it doesn't matter. They'll update it later. They will just shift the goalposts in whatever direction they can. Yo, Prophecy 508. That's what I want to see. Right there, taking us to 22 out of 25 members. Let's get 3 more people to join right now. Let's hit this 25 without gifteds. Let's show the people that gift every month. Let's show them that you guys can do this. You guys can join up on your own. Make room for the people that can't afford a membership. The more people that jump in and pick up their own membership, you're making room in the pool for everybody else. Thank you so much, Prophecy, for doing that. Those being at 30 FPS is the reason I didn't play those 2 games. Look at Dying Light 2. It came out with no performance boost. Month later, here's your performance boost. I really like my cheap Series S, but all these problems are very unpleasant, and in fact, this console can be a problem here. You're forgetting the fourth thing. It's okay. It's on Game Pass. I didn't pay $70. Yeah, that'll be the other thing. I said just yesterday, Redfall looks like it's shaping up to be another game that's perfect for Game Pass for all the wrong reasons. Imagine what people would have done if God of War Ragnarok or Horizon Forbidden West would have launched like this. Imagine that. Oh yeah, your big first-party title coming out can't even give you performance mode. Imagine the blood in the streets that would have been happening if Sony walked out and put out a first-party title without performance mode at launch. Microsoft legitimately says Wheezy is the only trillion-dollar game corporation that can continually crap on people's faces, and they say it's okay, this stuff is free on Game Pass. I hate this timeline. How'd you play all these games at 30 FPS for decades now? I don't know. How'd you enjoy... You enjoyed black and white television for a long time. You enjoyed non-high-def television all that time. Why do you need high-def television now? Why do you need a big screen? Why do you need letterbox? Why? That argument is stupid, and you know it. Like, you're literally typing it, and you know deep down that that's a stupid thing. Like, oh, well, we played 30 FPS games in the past. Yeah, I also played games on my Nintendo that I could beat today in an afternoon. Does that mean we should satisfy... Would you be okay with that? Here's a $70 game. How big is it? It's about the size of The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. You can beat it in about 4 hours. What the frick? Well, what's the problem? You were okay with it back then. What's the problem? See what I said above that, Lono? I'm so over this. Wheezy says, say what you will, but Microsoft has tricked these people into paying for 3 or 4 years worth of Game Pass to play 4 effing games. Microsoft literally tricked y'all. All the Game Pass bragging and all the chest puffing, you spend $300 and you play 4 effing games in half a decade. Congrats. I have 1 million games to play. Too bad they're all horse crap. Yeah, I think Wheezy's got a point. I think the entire ecosystem is built on this idea of puffing out your chest. Yeah. Day and date on Game Pass. Day and date on Game Pass. Oh, okay. How many years have you been on Game Pass? How many big AAA titles do you have? How many? PS5 is not part of the discussion. It kind of is. He literally referenced Gotham Knights and Plague Tale 2, which were both terribly optimized. They aren't demonstrating what next-gen consoles can do. Look at the PS5 titles and all their 60 FPS performance. Like, of course the PS5 is relevant part of the discussion. Of course it is. The guy referenced Gotham Knights and Plague Tale. Get out of here. Those were garbage optimized games. That statement acts like only first-party games exist on Game Pass. Zubair says, I think Wheezy oversimplifies. Those of us on Game Pass have a pretty clear idea of what it is at this point. People that care can unsub and resub for games. Zubair, I think he's talking about the people that go hard in the paint for Game Pass, not the people. I'm on Game Pass and I use it and I install games for my kids all the time. Or I use it and I install games for Madam and I to play on like a Friday night. Which, that's a great reason to be a member, right? That's a great reason to be a member. Excuse me. A great reason to be a member is those Friday night streams with Madam. Yo, Infinite taking us above and beyond the call today. That's our first 25, but you pushed us over so we can roll to the next one. If you guys want to do it, that's 27. Every 25 members, I have to give 5. Thank you guys so much for an amazing turnout today. He's talking about the people that describe Game Pass as if like he said, the chest puffing and the day and date on Game Pass, baby. And it's like, what the frick, man? Like, you're paying all that money, and if that's the reason you're doing it, you're getting very few games. Weezy says, I'm talking about the people that act like it's God's gift to gaming. Those people are not arguing in good faith. Their goal is to be annoying, and they succeed. That's true. That's true. Sandra says, I keep it off. I only sub if I like a game, and I don't want to spend $70. And I think that that's totally legitimate, Sandra. I think that's totally legitimate. Yeah, they reverted the chat. I can't click on people's names anymore. They reverted that change. For some reason they walked that one back. PS5 won this round of the console wars. Everyone knows it. That's why Microsoft is trying a different tactic. Buy up all the best devs, try to force the gamers to buy their console. It won't work. Game Pass has Flight Sim and Forza. Flight Sim, it's a management issue. Yeah, but look at how old those games are, Amos. You were promised one AAA game a quarter for Game Pass, homie. You haven't gotten that. The fact that you just overlooked that's a problem. Right? If you're like Zubair or you're like me and you have Game Pass for all the other games, then you're good. But I have every right as a Game Pass subscriber to be like, hey, I was promised a big AAA game. I was promised a AAA game once a quarter, and I haven't gotten that. I've barely gotten anything at that level. And then you trot out this image and you're like, oh yeah, the next 12 months. So the first half of 2023 is going to have 25 games. And 10 of them aren't ready. 9 of them are not making it. And the 10th one, Redfall, is clearly not ready because it's launching without performance mode. Again, put the shoe on the other foot. If we waited and waited because Horizon Forbidden West got delayed and God of War Ragnarok got delayed, and they also had a price increase, they were $70 games. If those games would have launched without performance mode, people would have been criticizing and hurling stones. Like, are you kidding me? So there's no excuse. You can't excuse this. It's not acceptable. It's what we've been saying all along. There are those of us that look at the way that Microsoft handles their developers. We look at their inconsistency. We look at their lack of quality. And it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah, oh, no, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I can wait. I'm okay. I can wait. But the rest of us look at that and say, I don't think game devs are going to flourish under Microsoft's ownership. Microsoft's trying to corporatize gaming. They're trying to treat everything like a product. And I think that's where the biggest problem lies. There's no way around this one. 30 FPS for my first-party Xbox game is not it. Shut it down. It's in a game of perception. To me, PlayStation's cakewalking right now. Yeah, some guy tweeted, which 30 FPS game will you be playing in May? And he's got Zelda and Redfall. If he's making a joke, it's a hilarious joke. If he's trying to say that, oh, everybody's fine with Zelda being 30 FPS, then I don't think he understands the dunk that he's doing. He's dunking on his own face. Thank you for the great content you provide. Thank you so much, Keithius, for a month renewal. At this point, Game Pass looks more like a graveyard for games. At this point, I think people should be more fully able to understand why there are those of us that don't want Microsoft to own a bunch of more property. We don't want a bunch of games suddenly underneath their ownership. Well, Colt Eastwood said delay Redfall until the 60 FPS patch is ready. You're losing people, man. He must have played on PC. I wonder if he didn't know about this. Colt Eastwood retweeted the Redfall tweet. He says, this is super, all caps, this is super disappointing with the new hardware on an Unreal Engine 4 game like this. There can't be a viable excuse right now. I'll play it on my PC at 60 until it gets patched. Even Maddie on Twitter said delay it. Yeah, this is bad. When they got guys like that are out there kind of being frontline PR for the game, and they're turning around and saying, whoa, wait the frick, what? Delay it then. Colt played the game and said it was amazing. Yeah, he played on PC. Listen, in his defense, if he went to a capture event and played it on PC and he had fun, I'm not gonna doubt him and be like, you didn't have fun, you were miserable. Colt probably knew when he played, but he didn't want to lose access. Well, or he didn't know, because when you go to a capture event like that, you literally, there's just lines of computers, and you sit down at your station and you just play. You don't get to sit down and have a Q&A with them. They basically bring everybody into a room, and everybody's station has a number, and you sit down at the station, play the game, record your footage, take your notes, and go home. So if you got Maddie saying delay it, and you got Colt Eastwood saying delay it, I don't know. I think these guys were probably in the dark about it, or they were under NDA and couldn't say anything. If they had fun with the game and they said, listen, this is a fun game, this is a good start for the year, that's fine. That's fine. That's their opinion. I don't care what their opinion is. I've never talked about that. I've always talked about what I see and what I saw in the gameplay. I covered it all yesterday. I said something is off. I kept saying it. Something's off. Something's not right. There's this weird claustrophobic tight FOV. Why do you have the FOV so zoomed in? Why is everybody moving so slow? The gameplay doesn't seem that intense. What's going on? Something is off. And here we sit. I told you, my spidey sense was tingling. I was like, there's something wrong. My stream yesterday, I'm coming out smelling like roses. 32 members on the day, another 5 from Quintar. It goes to Grizzin, Jose Thorish, Redstag, Rambo, and Ross. Let me save that image. Thank you, creature. I didn't think about that. NDA could have stopped them from saying something. Let me get. I want to get Maddie's tweet. Hang on. I want to get screenshots of Maddie's tweet, and I want to get screenshots of Colt's tweet. I would say that's a sharp turn. That's a sharp turn when some of your biggest cheerleaders, no offense. I like Maddie. I'd love to do a show with Colt, because I think even though we are very, very polar opposite on ideas and these games and stuff, I think we could do a great show together. So no shade, but these guys have been out here kind of cheering for the game. If they're turning around and saying, you better delay it, I think that sends a loud and clear message. Today, Xbox takes a bullet. Tomorrow, State of Play fires another shot. Yeah, dude. Sony is just loving this right now. Sony is loving this. NDA didn't force them to come out and say the game was super fun, blah, 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 when they knew it would launch 30. Different view today. We're trying the official Tickety Talk studio. So yeah, you can see when I change scenes, you can see when I show stuff. You get to kind of see the full experience now. Oh, in Maddie's review, he said it had performance problems. I've always thought Maddie was a stand-up guy that you could trust. I've never felt like he goes so far as to say things that I'm like, is this spin? I feel like Maddie has a bias and a lean, but I feel like he's a trustworthy content creator. Do you understand what I'm saying? I have a bias and a lean, but I feel like you can watch my content and know, like, this guy's not blowing smoke or lying or being like, or spinning things, right? Check out Doc's new video about it. Oh, Doc's already out here, huh? We got Doc out here. Redfall will drop at 30 FPS. Xbox is incompetent. I don't want to take his views, so make sure and watch Doc's video, guys. I don't like reacting to a video until it's been on YouTube for about 48 hours, because I don't want to take away from the viewership. So if you guys want to see Doc's video, make sure and check that out. We love Doc here. He's been on the show. This might be a good week to have him back on. This might be a really good week to have Doc back on. This would be a great week to have a roundtable. Let's get Doc. Let's get Maddie. Let's get Colt. Come on, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Tommy Hendy. Ooh, Tommy Hendy. Tom with the body. No. Tom with the receipts. Tom with the receipts. Maddie's a good guy. He definitely has a slight for Xbox, but he isn't crazy about it. Let's just stick to Doc and Mike for now. No, I want to fill the show. I want to fill the show. Hang on. Hang on. Open invitation. A frank conversation and round table about Redfall 30 FPS and the call for delaying the game. Right? Let's put this guy, let's put, why does Maddie have such a, what's his thing? G27 status? Why does it, was that like his old name or something? There you go. Open invitation. A frank conversation and roundtable about Redfall 30 FPS and the call for delaying the game. My guess, the person wasn't playing dumb in that footage. They were playing slow so no one would catch the frames. Okay, Fuzzy, I was trying to drive that point home. I wasn't super direct, though, but I kept saying that yesterday. Something is off, even if you watch Bethesda's official footage on their own YouTube channel. Even if you watch their own official YouTube channel, something weird is going on. It's all this slow movement, these slow turns. It's like, who plays like that? Bring Thrash on as well. Listen, Thrash has got good energy, but his vocabulary would never fly on my channel. It would just not work. He ends sentence he punctuates sentences with the N-word. I can't have somebody like that on. No shade, no disrespect, but he literally, his commas and his periods are a slur. I can't do that. Like, that's not the kind of content I run here, bro. I run a safe for work operation. Can't do it. Can't do it. I think he's funny. I've watched some of his content and laughed, but I'm like, yeah, bro, no. You're from that culture that just is cool with that word ad nauseum. And no judgment, but I can't have that on my show. Doc is mad about this. Oh, I believe it. He was in here heated. Dude. Maddie said the FPS was a big problem in the preview. Really? Like I said, I feel like Maddie makes good content. I've always felt like Maddie's a trustworthy guy. So you're saying we need a Patreon. Funny thing is, I've seen other people use that, and he calls them that. I mean, yeah. I'm not trying to get into a debate and throw shade. I'm just telling you that there's a caliber of vocabulary I have to have on my show. Can't advertise baby food with that kind of language. This might make them delay it. Must suck for the dev team at Bethesda working with limited hardware tech. All right, I just want you guys, let's just track with everything that's happened. Redfall was already delayed. It was already delayed once. Then it was internally delayed by about 5 or 6 weeks. And now we hear this. Just how bad do you think this game really is? What are the odds that Arcane published that tweet as a way to galvanize public support for a delay? I kind of like that theory, Eugene. I thought about that. I was like, why would you do this? Why wouldn't you just play the Gotham Knights angle? And I think YouTube's having a problem again. So if you guys are having to refresh, it's not on my end. I'm not having any issues. I apologize if you're having to refresh. We're talking about Maddie calling out IGN for showing bad gameplay. No, I called out IGN for showing bad gameplay. I said that in my coverage yesterday. I said, listen, I experiment, I wander around, I do goofy things, but that doesn't mean you record it and then you publish that as part of like your marketing efforts. You got first dibs on Redfall. Nobody else can publish their gameplay, and you show gameplay of you derping around. What, it was too hard to like, okay, now that I know what I'm doing, I'm gonna record some new footage? My gosh, the video is like, what, 3 minutes long? IGN couldn't be bothered to be like, okay guys, that was kind of a rough take. Let's start over. I didn't know what I was doing. Let's get some decent gameplay here. I'm not saying that you misrepresent the game or put together some crispy montage, but you don't record yourself derping around. I throw that over there because I just don't care. Like, what are you doing? Like, they 100% shouldn't have put that video out there. However, I said yesterday, I think the derpy bad gameplay from IGN actually betrays something about the game. Why were they able to play like such a moron? Why did the AI seemingly not respond to any of their attacks? There was plenty of things in IGN's gameplay that put on display what I considered to be problems with the game. I was like, something is off here. Something's not right. Yeah. Todd Howard has already basically said, he's already said that 30 FPS is fine in Starfield. Man, you guys better buckle the frick up. This is your generation. Bro. Like you're getting 30 FPS. You're getting 30 FPS this gen. What's the name of the guy's channel you were talking about earlier? You called him Doc? Doc Dark 1985. Doc _ Dark 1985. He is not happy. His latest video is right here. Look at that thumbnail. My man. You gotta pick a different thumb. Well, no, I think that thumb will do well. I think he'll get clicks. He's angry. There's how you spell his name. Oh, I'm gonna give it a watch and a like. He's already got 100 views. That thing's gonna cook. That's gonna cook. Cook him up. Cook him up, Doc. Look at him go. Look at him go. He's like, you gotta be kidding me right now. I gotta fix my shirt. Fix it over here. Listen to me. Listen to me. To have the nerve to do this to us, this Xbox fan base. We've defended you. We've stood up for Game Pass. And this is what we get? The testicular fortitude to do this. It's unacceptable. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding around. No, we're not going to react. I want you guys to watch his video. I want you to watch his video. He just published it. I don't want to take away from his views. I don't like reacting to a video within its first 24 hours. There's levels to this, not layers. What's that, mama? No, I'm being Haven. I'm being fine. I'm being good. I have to say, seeing the backlash right now makes me mildly relieved hopeful. Some folks going super hard in the paint are showing they aren't just blindly praising Microsoft. Keep Microsoft's feet to the fire, please. That's what I'm saying. If he fixes it more than once, you know he's in hell mentally. Oh, man, that's good. S tier stream today. Thank you, Jastification, for 9 months. Thank you so much. When you let Doc buy you some tank tops? Tom Warren says, Redfall's been showcased in 60 FPS for months, so to launch Xbox versions without it is beyond bad. 60 FPS takes a lot of dev work, but it should be a priority over 4K presentation in my opinion. I don't think I'm alone in caring more about FPS than resolution. At the end of the day, direct chat to his vid. We could do that. Lono, why don't you show my thumbnail with a jacked up picture of you? Because you disrespected me. You disrespected me. You don't get a shout out when you disrespect me. Justification with 9 months. Thanks for the renewal. I already said that one. Tenor Dude with 19 months and it's a member VIP. 15 months from Demon Eyes. Thank you so much. Give this a like. Yeah, smack that like button. Smack it. Give it a smack. I wonder just how well that VOD from yesterday is going to do. I wonder. That thing's about to take off, I bet. It's already cooking. It's just going to cook some more. Meanwhile, over at Sony, I'm actually pretty sure this is exactly what Doc was saying. Great interpretation. XCal with 11 months. Thank you so much. AI and gaming world creation. World creation. Let him cook. I'm waiting for the UE5 metahuman to save gaming. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, I'm just getting things ready because we've got to move in just a teeny bit. You guys still have time to get the next 18 if you want to hit the next milestone. If not, I will owe you 5 members. If that hits 50, I owe you 10 members. Magic Sword has a new album out today. Awesome. It looks Heavily inspired. I wish they would whitelist their music on YouTube. Oh my gosh, do I wish that. You know I'm down, just let me know when and send the link. Okay, Doc's down. Lono, you missed my resub on yesterday, or I missed the shout out. I didn't want to bother you. Thank you so much for the resub, Rainbow, and thank you so much for the gifted members today as well, Rainbow. I appreciate that support so much. You are the best. You are the best. You know Doc's mad when he's making mannerisms, bro. Look at this spot. Look at this spot. He's like, I'm gonna call you on the phone. I'm gonna tell you to put this game back in the shelf. Put it back in the oven. He's angry. He's angry. I'm letting it play so he doesn't get bad metrics. I'm letting it play. I don't want to like click on the video as a subscriber to his channel and be like, nah. Doc needs that check to spin this. Oh, shut your face. Doc doesn't spin. He likes what he likes. He likes what he likes. All there is to it. All right, I'm going to set this for that. And then I'm going to say that. Let's go there. And then let's go in here. Have a look. Okay. All right, you guys got about 5 minutes. You got about 5 minutes. I got a new video for you today. AI in gaming, world creation. What will machine learning and generative AI bring to game creation? Halloween stream subscriber goal should be Lono dressed as Doc Dark. That'd be so funny. There's levels to this. Okay, let me change that thumb. Frame rate of a game doesn't impact sales. What are you talking about? Yes, it does. So you think all the people that are upset about this, you think the people that have even been saying the game is really good, right? You think that they're not consumers? You think that they're not going to consider the fact that like this is bad? It's not going to affect their decision to buy the game? So which one do you want to run tomorrow? Redfall, 30 FPS, I told you so. Starfield will be 30 FPS. Sony concerns explained. Oh, we got a whole week of shows, creature. We got a whole week of shows. Whole week. All right, you guys got 4 minutes. Yeah, how did Gotham Knights do? Yeah, how did Plague Tale do? How did those games running poorly and hitting 30 FPS? How'd they do? Yeah, effing terrible is how they did. That's exactly right. People did not buy PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's to play 30 FPS games. You guys have been doing this for a while. You guys that act like it doesn't matter. I'm not saying every single person, right? I'm not saying every single person. But there are people that have been trying to act like it doesn't matter. They try to brush off the fact that like the Series S struggles, or they try to brush off the fact that Gotham Knights was a 30 FPS game. People did not buy into this ecosystem for that. Listen, if you guys are watching over on the Tickety Talk and you're watching over on Kick, head over to my YouTube channel. It's linked in my profile. And that will enable you to watch the premiere that's about to start. And if you're a member, you can discuss it with me afterwards. There's a live stream after the AI video. All right, Tickety Talk, we'll see ya. I'm going to be ending that one. Okay. That was different. I think we're going to try the vertical view tomorrow. All right, same goes for you, Kick. Same goes for you. It's been real. It's been fun. Head over to my YouTube channel. Any games at 30 FPS for next gen should be free. Yo, Braps in the house. Says hit that like button. Guys, make sure you check out Basement Radio Arcade Podcast. They're in the chat right now. Yeah, we need 15 more likes. Give me 15 more likes. 400 likes would look really, really good right now. And if you're a member, we've been doing a series called AI in Gaming. We've basically been saying this is what is going to change gaming. And if you want to discuss that, you can discuss that with me as a member. So become a member right now. Right now is a great time to become a member. We can have a little member train. We got a couple minutes left before the premiere goes live. Start a little member train, hit join, jump in, or a gifted member train. Let's hit 50. This is almost like our new stretch goal every day. We seem to be hitting 50 members a day, maintaining close to 2,500 members. If we hit 3,000 members, I have to do a Just Dance stream. All I have to say is, why is the Switch about to be the best-selling console of all time? Because Greenside, the Switch entered into the market at a time where next gen was not the sale. They also offer a feature that's more important to that demographic, which is gaming on the go. And gaming on the go and their first-party IPs are stronger than the need to have 60 FPS. The Xbox Series X and the PS5 sold themselves on 4K and 1440 and 60 FPS and instantaneous load times. If you bought a PlayStation 5 and a Series X and you had really long load times, would you shrug that off and say, well, I used to have long load times? No, you wouldn't, because that was a feature you were sold on. Acting as if these things were not sold on features just because they don't matter to you, or we want to minimize how much they matter, doesn't actually do anything to the fact that these dadgum systems were marketed around this. And I got to send you over to the premiere. It's premiering right now. Listen, click the link in chat. If redirects don't typically work for you, click the link in chat. Smash the like button on your way out. We only need 5 more likes. Head over to this AI video and give it some likes. Listen, I don't know why you guys aren't watching my AI videos. They're good videos. They're not like... It's not like an NFT bro video. Come on, y'all need to support these series that I'm doing for y'all. I'm going to be doing more series soon. The AI one's almost over. Head over there. I'll see you there, and then I'm going to hang out with members.